Welcome to Constel English, a telecourse for the language teachers of English. Constel, or the Continuing Studies in Education via Television, is a project of the Philippine government, of which the implementing agency is the People's Television Network in cooperation with the Department of Education, Culture and Sports, the Philippine Normal University, the University of the Philippines, De La Salle University, and the Foundation for Upgrading of the Standard of Education, or FUSE. Constel English is the fourth of these interagency projects. This English telecourse was conceived to further equip language teachers across levels with knowledges and skills in the teaching of the four macro skills, namely listening, speaking, reading, and writing, with the inclusion of grammar, literature, and language testing. The telecourse, which consists of these 7 segments, has a total of 45 episodes of 1 hour each episode. Each segment has 7 or 8 episodes altogether. To name a few of these, we have the following: the teaching of critical listening, the teaching of reading comprehension, recreatory reading, children's literature, and remedial reading. The telecourse likewise offers approaches, strategies, and techniques in the teaching of speaking, with topics such as oral communication strategies, one-way and two-way communication, and the teaching of public speaking. The writing component, on the other hand, has topics like the process approach to writing, writing from an outline, and marking compositions. The telecourse will also show you how to teach grammar and literature, and how to test all of these macro skills. You will certainly find the episodes meaningful and interesting because of the many classroom situations with which you can relate and which you can identify yourselves with. These classroom scenes crystallize the language learning theories which establish the framework for teaching of each component. Another significant feature of Constel English is the provision for the TSMs, or the teaching support material, which will certainly reinforce and enrich the 45 telelessons. So, my fellow English language teachers, may I invite you to Constel English, a must for the teachers of English like you and me.
They say that this shell has lived long enough in the ocean to capture the various sounds of the deep blue sea. Well, perhaps you've also heard of the story that you could press your ear against the old walls of St. Paul's Convent in Vigan and hear the voices of the nuns who sang their prayers there every day 100 years ago. Sounds make such an impact in our lives that a world without them is unimaginable. And yet, how many of us actually take time to listen? Hi, welcome to the first episode of the listening component. I'm your host, May Fernandez Legazpi. Let me take you to a school where a group of students are gathered for an English class. I'm sure many of you have had experience of lecturing before a class, yet we have someone who is quite occupied with something else, or one who is more interested in what his seatmate has to say. And perhaps a student who is just totally lost in thought somewhere. These students can obviously hear what their teacher is saying, but they are not listening.
Class, I gave you a selection to read at home, didn't I? Yes, ma'am. So kindly bring out your books and then turn your books to page 30. Can I now ask for a volunteer to read the page in front of the class? Okay, Raul, kindly come up here and read the page in front of your classmates. You may now begin to read the page.
It was dark outside, and no one was around. And Mona walked slowly towards the lamppost.
Excuse me, Raul, but what page are you reading from?
Page 30, Mom.
Oh, I said 30, not 13, Raul.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mom, but I thought it was page 13. But let me do that again.
Okay.
What you have just seen is an example of someone who just went through the initial process of effective listening. Raul paid close attention to his teacher's message, processed the message in his brain, and understood the instruction. However, Raul did not hear the message properly. He heard 13 instead of 30. He may have heard and added the sound of the letter N at the end of the word 30. Well, the listening component will make you see the reasons why Raul failed to hear the right message. In this episode, you will be taught what listening is as a process. Now, let me take you to a science class in high school.
Class, today we will learn about alcohol and how it affects man. Tony, kindly stand. What do you think will happen if somebody rubs alcohol on his arms and legs, especially if he does it often?
Ma'am, my older brother doesn't rub alcohol on his skin. He drinks it.
Oh, Tony, what do you mean by that?
Ma'am, my older brother drinks alcohol, but on occasions only.
Oh, I know what you're saying, Tony, but that is not what I mean.
Now, what you have just seen is an example of what happens when two parties communicating with each other have different background information or knowledge. The teacher expected another meaning of alcohol. However, Tony thought of another kind of alcohol, the intoxicating beverage that people drink, such as wine or whiskey. We can conclude from Tony's answer that he did not interpret the teacher's question correctly. Now, if Tony and the teacher shared the same background information, Tony would have given a reply similar to this.
Ma'am, if someone rubs alcohol on the skin too often, I'm afraid skin will become very dry.
So, what then is listening? Well, we can tell our students that listening is this. It is an activity of paying attention to and getting the right meaning from what they hear. And we might also tell them that if they don't listen effectively, they will most likely miss a lot of important information. The question now is, how then does one listen effectively? Tell your students to remember these important points that we have just learned about effective listening. First, they must pay close attention to what they hear. Then, they must process the message and try to understand what it is all about. And then, they should interpret the message. Lastly, they must give an appropriate response to the message. Well, if you had been listening effectively over the last few minutes of this program, you would get those items down correctly. Next in our agenda, we will be talking about why people listen. Keep tuned! You have just seen some activities where people listen. Listening is such an everyday task that is easily ignored. But in fact, a lot of troubled young people today claim that their main problem is that nobody wants to listen to them. And that's because we cannot force anyone to listen if he doesn't want to. However, there are certain situations where people have to listen. And why do they listen? People listen for many reasons, depending on what they need or what they want to do. First, they listen to get information.
I got that, sir. Dinner tomorrow night at 7 at the Fiesta Pavilion of the Manila Hotel. We'll call you right back to confirm our attendance. Thank you.
What information did the lady get from the phone call? Well, she got the caller's invitation for dinner tomorrow night at the Manila Hotel. We now look at another scene. This time, we focus on the importance of listening attentively when following directions.
Thank you, Dr. Reyes, for coming. The students enjoyed your lecture. We all learned a lot today.
Thank you, Chun. Your students are exceptional. I wish I could stay longer, but I have to go to Philippine National Bank at Escolta.
Well, let me call a taxi for you.
I'd rather take a jeepney. I have enough time. Could you just give me the directions?
PNB and Escolta. Well, take a jeep on Taft Avenue, then ask the driver to drop you off at the foot of Jones Bridge. Get off at the intersection, then walk along the street to your right, and that street leads you to Santa Cruz.
Are there any landmarks which can help me find the place?
You will pass by a bank. And there are many food and business establishments on both sides of the street.
How far is it from Jones Bridge to PNB?
Philippine National Bank is on the left side of the street. You walk about 2 blocks to get to it.
Besides those banks and restaurants, are there other landmarks?
Aside from the big sign PNB, you will find Mercury Drugstore opposite it. Then Tropical Restaurant and the Jollibee is also nearby.
Oh, thank you. I think I'll be able to find my way.
If you lose your way, you can always ask someone to help you find PNB.
Thank you.
What do you think? Would you be able to find your way easily after listening to the same directions? Well, it all depends on how directions were given and how they were understood by you. You will be amazed at how much information you receive from listening to people every day, whether in person or other electronic means, such as radio and television or the telephone. Now, let's take a look at another listening situation.
Hi, happy birthday! You're so happy. As I promised, I brought my cousin Ed. Ed, this is Green, my classmate. Hi Ed, I'm so happy I could meet you.
We're dating? Nice to meet you too.
Okay, I think you should come in so you can meet my other guest. Okay.
Obviously, you saw how important it is to listen when one is engaged in a social activity. It is only through listening that a person can respond appropriately to other people during a conversation or a discussion. One of the exciting experiences in a student's life is to join contests like the Quiz Bee, win a prize, and become a quiz wizard. Let's take a look at a scene which shows this.
And now we begin the collegiate division of the Olympic Quiz Show proper. Contestants, your first question. Which Dutch swimmer won 4 out of the 5 gold medals at stake in women's swimming in the 1936 Olympics? Once again, which Dutch swimmer won 4 out of the 5 gold medals at stake in women's swimming at the 1936 Olympics? You have 10 seconds to answer. Time's up. Let's see your answers, please. Mr. Vargas has no answer. Ms. Baviera has Enrica Ree Mastenbrook. And Mr. Nicolas has Bep Van Claveren. The correct answer is Enrica Ree Mastenbrook. So Angela Baviera takes a 1-point lead.
Now, let's find out the other reason why most people listen. And now, fellow teachers, let's listen to an orchestra as they play a musical selection. That's the kind of listening most people do. Listening to enjoy and appreciate what they hear. To some extent, listening of this nature is a form of physical relaxation, and different people would have different levels of enjoying what they listen to. So now you know that people do listen, and they listen for 3 major reasons: to get information, to engage in social rituals, and to enjoy and appreciate what they hear. Did you get that? Now that we know why people listen and what effective listening is all about, let's look at the whole process of communication and the so-called communication breakdown. Coming up next, so don't go away. Welcome back. In order to understand the process of listening better, I'd like you to take a look at this communication model. It is very important for you to be familiar with this illustration, which shows us how communication flows from speaker to listener, and how messages can be distorted because of noise. This model illustrates the cycle of communication that features the speaker, the message, the channel for the message, the interference or noise, the listener, and the response. Now, let's see how each of these features come into play. The speaker initiates the process. He has a message in his head that he would like to communicate to his listener. This message is transmitted through a channel. For example, he may transmit his message through speech, using his voice. Upon hearing the message, the listener would give his corresponding response. Sometimes the channel that we use may suffer from interference or external noises. For example, the speaker's voice may be distorted by a cold, or his voice could be drowned out by the sound of a passing airplane, in which case the listener fails to get the message and he is unable to give an appropriate response. This is a communication breakdown. It means the cycle or process of communication is not completed. At this point, it is clear that communication breaks down when transmission of the message suffers from interference or noise, and when the channel of transmission is not effective. Let's take a look at these various scenes where communication breaks down because of interference or noise. likewise been disturbed if you were in those situations? I'm sure you would have been. Now, let's listen to a conversation between Rose and her mother. This situation will clearly show you how interference or noise results in communication breakdown.
Rose, this is Mom. I've been trying to contact you at the dorm.
Mommy, how are you? What's up? Why didn't you contact me through my cell phone?
I forgot your number. Your brother June just gave me your number.
Mom, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Sorry, Mom. I can't understand. It's very noisy here. I can't understand what you're saying. Give me 10 minutes, then call me up at dorm again.
Telephones and cell phones are a great help, especially in long-distance communication. However, they won't be of any help if they are affected by interference or noise. Let us go to the dorm where Rose stays and find out how Rose overcomes the problem of interference.
Hello, Rose de Guzman speaking.
Rose, this is Mom. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Mom. Sorry about what happened a while ago. My cell phone was on low bat and it was noisy there.
Listen, your Kuya Mark called by IDD. He's arriving tomorrow.
Mom, really? Why so soon? I thought Kuya Mark would arrive next week. Anything up?
Well, he was able to take a leave from work 1 week earlier, and we are planning to take the early morning flight from Davao tomorrow. But we do not have a booking yet, so your papa is going to get our tickets.
Wow, with Kuya Mark here, we'll have a wonderful time.
Yes, I'm sure of that. If Papa can get the tickets, your brother June and baby will fly with us.
Is there anything I can do?
Yes, of course. Your Kuya's plane will arrive at 9 a.m. tomorrow. If Papa can get the tickets for the early morning flight, we won't be there in time to meet your Kuya.
Mom, what is Kuya's flight?
Your Kuya Mark is coming by United Airlines. His flight number is 847. Remember, 847.
Of course, Mama. I'll write it down. Flight 847, United Airlines. Anything else?
Well, ask your Tito Ernie to help you. You will need a van for the baggage of your Kuya. He is bringing home 3 balikbayan boxes aside from other things.
Oh, Mom! I wonder what Kuya will bring.
A lot, I'm sure. Call up your Tito Ernie now. Make sure the van is ready for tomorrow. This is the number, 803-4756. Did you take down the number?
Sure, Mommy. Telephone number 803-4756. Don't you worry. Tito Ernie and I will be there at the airport on time.
We see now the need for attentive listening. What is important too is the environment. For this kind of listening, the need for open channels or quiet environment so that sounds, words are clearly heard and listened to. We can also have a breakdown where the message itself is not clear and there is no match between the speaker and the listener. Let me show you a situation between James and Linda.
That's a very pretty dress. It becomes you. Linda.
In the last scene, there was no response from Linda. You might conclude that she was not listening to James because he was thinking of something else, or Linda might not have understood the message at all. In other words, there was no match between what James and Linda were thinking of. In a normal communication process, what do you think should happen?
Hi, Linda. That's a very pretty dress. It becomes you, Linda.
Hi, I'm glad to like you. My mom made it for me.
Did you notice the smile on Linda's face this time? That response meant that she understood the message from James. Again, let's look at the factors that make up effective listening. Linda attended to the message, processed it in her mind, understood the message, and gave it an appropriate response. There are many ways of determining whether a person is actually listening to you or not. When we return, we will distinguish between attentive listening and marginal listening. Stay there. Have you been listening? If you have, then you are now ready for our next set of information. You know, effective listening depends on the amount and kind of attention given to what is being heard. Therefore, we can classify listening as marginal listening and attentive listening. Let me take you back to the classroom we visited at the beginning of this program and see another classroom scene.
Hey, Daniel! Hey, Daniel! Hey, Daniel, come out here quickly.
What have you observed from watching that scene? In the beginning, as Daniel was busy reading and writing notes, he was not paying close attention to what was going on around him. He could hear the radio and the sound of his classmates playing outside the classroom, but he was only half listening. This is an example of marginal or casual listening. But when someone called out his name loudly from outside, he dropped what he was doing and paid attention to the call. Daniel tried to focus on what was being said by minimizing the noise around him. He turned down the volume of his radio. What Daniel did was attentive or focused listening. Let me take you to another scene.
Ay nako, ang batang ito, wala nang ginawa kundi manood ng TV.
Ma, manood pa muna tayo ng TV. Hindi ba paborito mong programa to? Huwag kang mag-alala, I'll have you cook after watching the show.
Sige na anak, manood ka na. I'll finish my cooking so that everything will be ready before your father comes home.
Ang bait-bait talaga ng mama ko. I'll wash the dishes after supper. I promise. Ma, did you happen to drop the coupons in the drop boxes at the supermarket last Saturday? Remember? Ma, remember the coupons? Naihulog niyo po bang mga yun?
Siyempre naman. Hindi ba 10 coupons yata ang handa natin?
Malalakasan ko po ang TV. Pakinggan niyo
Sige.
And now, for the home viewers, the winner for today, winning a cash prize of 100,000 pesos, is coupon number 1552341.
Sunny! Run to my room! Get the stocks! Andun yata sa ibabaw ng drawer natin.
Okay, ma.
I repeat, the winning number for the home viewers portion is coupon number 1552341.
Tama! It's our number! We won! Nanalo tayo, anak! Nanalo!
Did you see that? Aling Hiling was humming to the song over the radio as she was preparing supper. Her focus was on her work. She could hear the TV in the sala but paid no particular attention to it. That is an example of marginal listening. However, when she heard 1552341, she paid particular attention to the numbers. She dropped whatever she was doing and focused on the winning number. She did attentive listening. Let us go back to the classroom where you will see how important attentive listening is in transacting meaning.
Morning, class.
Good morning,
Miss Leope.
Now, where is our secretary?
I'm here, Miss Cleophie.
You're early as usual, Jewel. I'm very happy about that. But please call me Miss Cleofe.
Yes, Miss Cleophie.
Okay, you got that right this time. Now, may I know who's absent for today?
Ma'am, all are present except Vivi.
Say Teddy.
Teddy.
Okay, you got that right. How many days has Teddy been absent?
2 days, ma'am. This is the 3rd day.
Do you know if Teddy has a phone at home so that we can contact him and find out how he is? Who can call him up? Lindo, can you do that?
I'll do that, Miss Cleophie. I know the telephone number of Teddy. It's 801-4757.
Please take that down, Jewel. The telephone number is 801-4757.
I have written the number down, Miss Cleophie.
You will notice that attentive listening is important. A person's name is pronounced the way he or she wants it pronounced. Otherwise, the name will sound strange. For example, Cleofe may be pronounced Cleofe or Cleophie. It may even be pronounced Cleofe. Let us now follow Dindo, who makes a phone call.
Hello, Rivera's residence.
Good morning. May I speak to Teddy, please?
This is Vera, Teddy's elder sister. May I know who's speaking?
I'm Dindo Pagaduan, ma'am. I'm the classmate of Teddy. Our teacher, Miss Cleophie, asked me to find out why Teddy has been absent.
I'm glad you called up, Dindo. Teddy's been sick since Sunday. He had fever, but thought he would be well enough to attend classes on Tuesday. Last night, he had fever again, so Mother brought him to the doctor today.
I'm sorry that Teddy has been absent. And tell to Miss Cleophie. We hope he will get well soon.
Thank you for calling.
So now, you can make your students learn how to distinguish between marginal and attentive listening. Do you think you can provide your students with activities to develop skills in attentive listening? I'm sure you can. But there is another type of listening that people do, especially in learning situations such as this. It is what we term as critical listening. Just what is critical listening? For one thing, it is not distinguished by how much you listen, but on why you listen. You can develop skills in critical listening right in your own classroom. And we will find out how after this break. We demonstrated two types of listening, marginal and attentive listening. Now, I would like to illustrate to you the third type of listening, which we term as critical listening. As I said earlier, critical listening is not based on how much you listen, but on why you listen. Critical listening is what most people employ in a learning situation, such as in a classroom. To illustrate, let me take you to our high school class once more.
You must all be familiar with this favorite story of our national hero, Jose Rizal, which we love to tell little children. You listen well now, and let me refresh your memory. A lighted lamp once stood on a high table near the window. Its light seemed to call out to the dark night, drawing attention to its brightness. Two moths were flying and saw the lighted lamp. Mama, look, how bright the light is. It seems to say to me, come near and warm your wings. Yes, it looks very attractive, doesn't it? Let's go closer, please. Look all you want, child, but don't go near. Just a little bit more, Mama. The glow on the lamp seems to make my wings glow too. Just look. Don't go near, child. It's dangerous. Don't. Oh, my darling child. You should have listened to me. All right, I'm sure you all remember this story very well. Now, can anyone tell me why the mother moth didn't want her child to go near the lamp? Can I see a raise of hands? Yes, Lourdes.
Well, she knew that her child could get hurt.
But the mother moth didn't tell that to her child directly, so why do you say that?
I'd say from the tone of her voice.
That's a good answer. Can anyone give me another answer? Yes, Leanne?
But she actually warned her child, and she said it was dangerous.
Can anyone add to that? Yes, Marlene.
Yes, but it was too late. The child would be hurt by then. The discussion going on in the classroom scene you witnessed illustrates the results of critical listening. The first question, why didn't Mother Moth want her child to go near the lamp, asked the students to speculate and look into things before arriving at a conclusion. The second question, why do you say that, asked them to go deeper into the matter, to probe and analyze before coming up with an answer. You too could ask other questions such as, what do you think happened to the baby moth? Or, did Mother Moth give enough warning to her child? These questions call for critical listening skills, analytical and evaluative. Let us move on to another classroom where other students apply their critical thinking skills.
Class, this time you're going to listen to a story. So you have to listen very well because I'm going to ask you questions later on. Like, for instance, this question. Why did the beggar fail to get the riches he craved for? The title of the story is Fortune and the Beggar. And the story goes, a beggar, carrying an old wallet, walked at a mansion surrounded by high walls. Grumbling at his lot, he wondered why those who lived in mansions and enjoyed all the comforts in life should be dissatisfied. One man, for instance, the former owner of the mansion, became prosperous because of his fruit trees, piggery, and chicken farms. Instead of retiring and living the rest of his life in peace, he sold his land, his piggery, chicken farms, and bought ships. He expected to gain a bigger fortune. Unfortunately, the ships were caught at sea by typhoons, and his treasures sank. At this moment, Fortune suddenly appeared to the beggar and said, I have long wished to help you. Here is a lot of gold coins I found. Open your wallet, and I will fill it with gold. You shall have all the gold your wallet will hold. There is but one condition. All that falls into the wallet shall be gold. But if any should fall out of the wallet to the ground, all shall become mere dust. Remember this condition. The beggar was almost too overjoyed to breathe. He opened his wallet, and the gold coins fell into it in a golden stream. It soon became rather heavy. And then Fortune asked, Is that enough? The beggar said, Not yet. Isn't it cracking? No, just a little more. There, it's full. Take care now. The wallet is going to burst. Just a little more. At that moment, the wallet split. The gold fell to the ground and turned to dust, and Fortune disappeared. Did you understand the story, class?
Yes, we did.
Now you're ready to answer my questions. How did the beggar feel about the people who were rich and lived comfortable lives? Yes, Joey?
Mom, I think he was envious.
Do you agree with Joey, Norma?
Yes, I agree with Joey because that was one reason why he was complaining about the kind of life he lived.
Very good. Now, what about the people who were already rich but were still dissatisfied with their lives? Yes, Noel.
I think they were greedy. They had plenty already, but still work some more.
Very good. I think you got that point quite well. Now, what do you think of the beggar? Yes, Pina?
I think the beggar was very greedy too. He should have stopped asking for more when his wallet was full. Maybe he should have stopped asking for more even before the wallet was full.
was older than my split anytime. He forgot the condition given by fortune. Very good, Tina. Is there anything you would like to add to that? Yes, Gina?
Many people are like the beggar, ma'am. They talk about other people's bad attitude. Then, they act the same way those people do.
That's right, Gina. Gina, just raise your hand. Yes, Lynette, would you like to say something?
Ma'am, this story is also true today. Many people want more and more. They are not satisfied with what they have.
Yes, Tony?
Anyway, Mom, I think gold and fortune were just a fiction of imagination. This would not happen in real life. Nobody would come to you and offer you money for doing nothing.
Yes, Tony, you have a point there. Who else would like to recite? Jerry?
The beggar learned his lesson too late. He had been criticizing others for never being satisfied with what they had. Then when the time came, the beggar was the same. He would not stop wanting more. In the end, he got nothing.
Very good, class. You were able to listen very well to my story. I'm very proud of you.
The analysis of the students were correct, weren't they? The students listened carefully to the story. They drew conclusions and made their own judgments. You will notice also the observation made about the characters and situations which were compared with real-life situations. Other thought-provoking questions can be asked to elicit answers that can help develop attentive listening skills. Let's pause for a while and allow yourselves some time to think of what stories you can tell your students to develop their critical listening skills. And when we return, we will talk about yet another type of listening, which is everybody's favorite. This is great! What you're watching now is my response to the fourth type of listening that is everybody's favorite, appreciative listening. It may involve marginal listening, such as when I turn on the radio and hum with the music, but I may continue doing my work. It may also involve attentive and critical listening, such as when I listen to a classical concert, close my eyes, and distinguish the different musical instruments and how they are playing their parts in the orchestra. In both situations, I appreciate what I am listening to and enjoy the activity. Can you think of ways by which people practice appreciative listening? It's time to sum up what we have learned in this episode. First, we learned that listening is the activity of paying attention to and getting meaning from what people hear. We also learned that people listen to get information, to engage in social rituals, and to enjoy and appreciate what they hear. We looked into the cycle of effective communication, where listening plays a major part. And lastly, we learned the differences between and among marginal listening, attentive listening, and critical listening. At the very end of our lesson today, we also gave you a sampling of appreciative listening. And that brings to a close our introductory episode on the subject of listening. We have more exciting lessons ahead of us, and I can hardly wait for the next time we meet. Until then, I'm May Fernandez Legaspi. And although I am on video, I think I can rightfully say this time, happy listening!